Thank you all so much for being here. Welcome to the new student orientation for fall of 2014 for Bay Path University. This is our first orientation really since we've become a university, so we want to welcome you. So let me just introduce your other presenter here.
So good evening and welcome everybody. My name is Shirley Montavani and I'm an educator coach here. I advise students from our online program, which is our the American Women's College, and then also our one-day program on Saturdays. I did recognize some of your names, but also some of you may be based out of one of our other campuses, or you may be assigned to another advisor, but I can certainly answer whatever questions I can at the end of this presentation, and if we can't find the answer, we'll certainly find it out. So we're going to get started. So this is who we are, and if you didn't know, Bay Path recently became a university, so this is a really exciting time. So we are now Bay Path University. So Diane, these are your presenters, myself and Diane. Diane's our online support administrator, so anything having to do with Canvas and the portal, any technical, anything. She's very, very helpful. So this is how you reach her, and you probably already received emails from her by now. And if you haven't, you will. This is me. So I'm an educator coach, really just another fancy name for academic advisor, and this is how you reach me as well. And again, if I'm not your advisor and you're not sure who it is, you can either ask your admissions counselor or your advisor will be reaching out to you. So this is what we're going to go over. First things first is there's some brand new important policies that you definitely need to know. So we're going to go over those. And I know Diane mentioned we're recording this, but we're also actually going to send this out to you. And there's some links in there too, which we'll go over side by side. But don't feel like you have to write things down, or this information you'll be able to access as well as ask any questions to your advisor or your admissions counselor. So we'll go over the policies. What to do to get ready for class. Maybe some of you haven't been to school in a long time, so these are some tips. Things to know about on campus, which we also call on ground. Things to know about online. Proven skills to master. What is your learning style? What if you need help? Be sure to do the following. How to be successful on Saturdays or online. And then honoring yourself and each other, and who are the staff and who are the advisors. So this new important policy, the attendance policy, this is brand new, and it's something you definitely want to familiarize yourself with. The main takeaway from this is that the first class, whether it's online or on Saturday, you must attend. Otherwise, you will be dropped from the class. You won't get any. It won't affect your GPA or financial aid, but you will be withdrawn from the class, administratively dropped. So this is something you definitely want to be familiar with.
And I just want to add, in respect to the online aspect, what's going to happen is you're going to be given a pre-assignment, and that will prove participation in the first class for the online classes. So I'm going to actually be showing you, once I take over, and show you the how to locate your syllabus, because that pre-assignment is in your syllabus, and it's something that's going to be asked to be turned in on the Thursday that your classes start, which is September 11th. So I just wanted to add that about the online aspect of Canvas, that it's being asked to be submitted by, and it says Saturday, but your first assignment's usually due on Thursday. So I just wanted to bring that up on the online aspect. Sorry, Shirley.
No, that's okay. And I know this might be, it's very wordy and lengthy, and obviously with policies you have to put everything together. There's a link right there when this gets sent to you, attendance policy, so you'll be able to read that. It'll be embedded into your syllabi. It'll be explained to you. I can certainly explain it to you, or your advisor, or your admissions counselor. So don't feel overwhelmed about it. But if there's some kind of conflict or concern, definitely communicate it as soon as possible with your admissions counselor or your advisor, because we can certainly, there's always a solution. Please always remember that. We can work with you and always figure it out. So, but the main takeaway is that first class, and the meaning behind that is because this is accelerated classes. 6 weeks goes by fast, so we want to make sure that you're all successful. In the first class, there's just a lot of information in it that you would miss. So we just want to prepare you for success.
Yeah, and just to finalize that, the couple things, it is first class participation, but say you're taking more than 2 classes, that applies for both of your classes. So if you don't participate in either, they would actually drop you from the institution. So just take a look at this. You're going to be mailed this. You're going to be emailed this. You might have already received that. But just be very careful. And it's always communicate proactively with us. If you have any concerns, please just reach out ahead of time. Don't wait until after this has happened, because we really are happy to have you here and we want you to stay here.
Yeah.
So that's all I just wanted to add on that.
Yeah. So there's also a late policy that was just developed, and basically it's short and sweet. Late work will be accepted, but it will suffer a 10% grade deduction, and anything 4 days late, it may not be accepted. And again, you know, it's not to scare you or deter you. Being proactive in communication are 2 key things that I'll probably repeat over and over again. There's always a solution and there's always ways, you know, to work around it, but we have to be able to communicate with you and know what's going on. I mean, there's obviously policies in place, but definitely communicate with us. But this is the policy that's been developed. Okay, so the next question, which I'm sure, you know, we all had as staff and faculty, so I'm sure you're having this as a student. So what about the next 5 classes? What if I miss those? There was an active engagement policy that was developed to address any questions. So if you can miss subsequent classes, but active engagement is worth 30% of your course grade. In this active engagement policy, there's also a link right there on the left to read in depth, but there'll be different rubrics, you'll be doing self-assessments, but it'll be pretty self-explanatory when you read it. But, you know, the gist of it is, you know, don't miss the first day, and if you are going to miss any other absences, just know that, you know, if you're not there, you can't get the 30% of active engagement for part of your grade. And again, if you have any questions or if you're confused or you need clarity, just ask, you know, ask one of us. Okay, so enough of the policies. I want you to still be excited, but obviously we have to let you know some of that stuff. So it's your first session, and start now, which means, I mean, it's only a couple weeks away. It's going to go by quick, and there's many things you can do now. Diane's been sending you emails, and like I said, if you haven't gotten an email, you will be, just depending on where you are in the admissions process. But you can practice on the portal and in Canvas, and she's going to be showing you some stuff in this presentation. The syllabus is going to have a wealth of information, and you really, really want to be familiar with what is required, you know, each week, the books, things like that. And that usually becomes available about 2 weeks before, so don't panic if you haven't seen it yet. You will. And always reach out to us if you still haven't seen it. Get your books, because books are, you know, going to be important. We are trying to do more online resources, but some classes are going to require books. Something to think about with books too, reach out to other classmates. Also, you know, used books, and there's many other resources. So we understand that they can be, you know, expensive, but, you know, talk to us about other ways to get them. Pre-class assignment. So every class will always have a pre-class assignment. It won't be anything lengthy, but there will be something. And they're always going to be due on that first day of class. So Saturday, obviously, it'll be that first Saturday when you come in, and then Thursday for online classes. So now get ready, get yourself mentally prepared. Again, you know, it's going to be an exciting, nerve-wracking time, but you can do it, and, you know, take advantage of all your support networks. Renegotiate those social contracts, meaning if you're used to going out on Friday nights, but you're going to take Saturday morning classes at 7:15, maybe just go out Saturday night instead of Friday night. Be sure you have a computer and a printer that you can access easily. We have if you're near the campus, you can certainly use one of ours.
Okay, so I just had one quick question, and I'm going to go ahead and address. So it says, are you saying the first online class is September 11th? That is correct. So I do want to enforce, yes, September 11th is the very first day, meaning that's when an assignment is due in your online class. So that's September 11th, and the on-ground classes start on the Saturday, which is September 13th. Sorry.
No, that's okay. And just so you know, too, depending on who your advisor is, we mail you a lot of information and resources, and your schedule will be there and in there as well. And that information, as far as like location or time and dates, will be in there. But you can also access that on the portal, which Diana is going to show you how to do. So you'll be able to be aware of all that stuff. And if you don't know, just ask. So for on-ground, classes begin on the Longmeadow campus in the morning or in the afternoon. And the morning session runs from 7:30 to 12:30. Lunch is 12:30 to 1:15, and then the afternoon runs from 1:15 to 6:15. Sturbridge and Burlington, so it's also referred to as CMC, our Central Math Campus, or EMC, Eastern Math Campus in Burlington. Their morning is 7:30 to 12:30, lunch 12:30 to 1:30. And then afternoon session runs 1:30 to 6:30. Get here early. From what everybody says, parking can be kind of tough, especially when all the traditional students are here. So you definitely want to, maybe get here 7:15, 7:10 to make sure you get a parking space, maybe grab a coffee. You don't want to be rushing. So that's, just some good advice. Good night's sleep, which is kind of a given. Review the material. Again, it is accelerated, so you just, you want to be familiar with what's happening. But relax and enjoy yourself, and be proud of what you're doing, and utilize all your resources that you have. This is a big thing you're taking on, and you should be proud of yourself and enjoy it and relax.
One question did come up, which was, when is the syllabus going to be available? Now, this should apply to both the online and on-ground students, which is going to be that your syllabus should be posted in your Canvas classroom. Now, once again, this is even if you're an on-ground student, on August 29th. We certainly work very hard with the faculty members to make sure it's prepared. So on August 29th, that is actually not next Thursday? Next Friday, I think.
Yeah.
Next Friday, I believe, that you should actually see your syllabus. And we emphasize this because, number one, that's where your pre-assignment is. And that's also where, if there are any textbooks, that's where you're going to find that. So it should be on the 29th.
Okay, so for online, these are just some suggestions, and this is coming from other students and faculty and staff. Do the reading 3 days in advance. First assignment is due on Thursdays. Other assignments are always due on Saturdays. So always think that in your head. And if you want to do it ahead, do it ahead. You can. There's nothing saying you can't hand it in earlier. That's kind of what's nice about online, is you can do something at 3 a.m. and hand it in. Really, whatever is convenient for you.
Right. I'm going to add in there, and something that I really think everyone knows, but sometimes people don't know. Your courses at Bay Path are asynchronous. That means you can do them whenever you want to do them. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't deadlines. Assignments are due at certain times and certain due dates. But if you want to come out at 3 o'clock in the morning and read an assignment and maybe post a discussion posting, you can. That's the fantastic thing. So we understand women have lives, children, families, etc. And that's where online learning can be a benefit to you, because it allows it to fit within your schedule. So just wanted to add that point in there also.
Okay, so again, some proven skills to master coming from students and different staff members and faculty that have been part of this. So time management is a huge one. And you'll figure it out. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. But, something to think about is, don't wait till the day before to do the weekly assignment. Especially if you're taking 2 classes, try to balance it, each half of the week. Maybe do one half of the other week and in the other class the other half of the week. Delegate. So I know it can be hard to ask for help, but you know what? If someone offers, take it. And just, while you're doing this is really important. It's for the better future of yourself and your family. So why not, take the help? So delegate responsibilities. And if the floors still get swept or, the laundry waits another day, that's okay. Forgive yourself. Flexibility, same kind of thing I was just saying, but be willing to accept less than perfection. Some of you, it's been a while since you've been back into school, so take the pressure off yourself. You'll figure it out. Reach out to your advisors. That's what we're here for. Reach out to the other students, whether you're online or in class. You'll be developing a community of support. So, just think of those things, and you'll get used to it.
Thanks. I'm glad you guys are all asking questions. That's really good. It guides us to help you best because we want to know what you need to know.
Learning styles. So this is something that is important for everyone to know. You know, how do you learn best? Is it visual by seeing pictures and graphs and charts or video? Auditory, just by listening and reciting? Or tactile, by actually doing it or watching the videos or demonstrations? And something that you might see on your schedule, it's called Well 220. This is something that you'll actually get this information from in that course. So if you're not registered for it, eventually you will be, and this is a great learning tool that you'll get out of that. What if I need help? I cannot stress this enough. There are so many resources here that are free. We have a writing tutor, we have math tutors, we also have an ESL tutor, and there's always going to be someone here to assist you. So it's free. A lot of times they're willing, if their hours don't work with your hours, they're willing to work with you via online or the phone. So if you're struggling, which I know what I do with my advisees is usually by the second week I'm checking in. If there's an issue, tell us, and we can work through it and make sure, and you'll know about all the resources, but we'll be reminding you and talking to you about that. So remember that there is help available and it's free. So on campus, on the portal, you'll see a link for tutoring, and that will outline as well where it's available. And then online, there's also a tool called Smart Thinking that Diane will review with you. And your classmates, that can be very powerful. You know, sometimes you just might need a pep talk, and it is more powerful from somebody, coming from somebody that is going through the same thing you are. So, you know, don't be afraid to ask for help and support each other, and know that it's there. And when it seems like you can't do it, you can. So be sure to do the following. So this is just some checklist things. Make sure you've talked to financial aid. I know there's some entrance counseling that you have to do that you'll probably just need to talk to them about. Your bill, just make sure that's all set. Immunizations, that's going to be really important if you're going to be taking classes on campus. If you're online and you don't intend to come to the campus, don't worry about that. But technically, if you're going to come use the library or the rooms, then we're going to need your immunizations. But those are going to be very important, and they actually will follow up with that, and your account would go on a hold eventually. So try to get those done as soon as possible. Mentally prepared, so all the stuff we're talking about. But again, it may be nerve-wracking and exciting, but know that this is going to be a great journey, and everybody's here to help you along the way. A hold. So you may at some point now or later or whatever see a hold message. Typically, it's just something financially related. It's usually a simple fix. So this is a number I would call first, and then if it's not that, just contact your advisor. But don't panic if you see that. I think it's in red, but don't panic. Just know that it's something simple that probably just needs to be fixed.
Yeah, and that you're going to actually see in Canvas, but it does not prevent you from accessing your courses. So I just want to make sure you understand that. It is something that you see as soon as you come in, and it is a little intimidating when you first see it. But trust me, even if there's anything with the billing or immunizations, you may see it, but it doesn't mean you can't get to your classes. So please still continue to access them, and then we'll work to figure out what it is. Perhaps it's the immunization, or perhaps that there's an account balance due. Certainly something we can work through, but getting into your classroom and working in your classes is most important.
So to be successful, either Saturdays or online, again, it's accelerated. So just, if you can, I know life happens, and if it does, that's okay, but just as best as you can, don't miss a class, and definitely not the first class, or an assignment. And if there's any issue, again, I can't stress this enough, just communicate with your instructor, your advisor. Part of our responsibility is to advocate for you and help find a solution, so just communicate with us and be proactive about it. Make the time for homework and studying. Sometimes you may think, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to have the time? But that's another thing we are here for, to talk through all that. So there is time. It's just you got to figure out time management. Participate. You can get a lot out of that. It might be a little nerve-wracking being in the classes and you don't want to speak up, but eventually you'll feel comfortable, and it can be very rewarding. Get the help if you need it, and again, it's free. use your advisor. You're never bugging us, ever. Don't ever think you are. And then attendance, withdrawal, and student academic progress policy. These are very important things that also have to do with like the federal government and your financial aid. So at the beginning, we talked about that attendance policy. There's also a withdrawal policy. So you just want to make sure you're familiar with all that. And there's different deadlines that you'll be reminded about. Activities in the class, it's not going to be just lecture. I don't know, especially for some of you that maybe were in college 10 years ago and have this vision of, okay, I'm just going to sit and listen to a lecture. It's not like that, especially not here. You'll do some homework review. There'll be some discussions and group discussions, videos, presentations, and some tests. But it won't be a 5-hour lecture. The instructor doesn't want to do that, and I'm sure you don't want to listen to somebody for 5 hours. So it'll be very interactive.
And I just want to add on the online side. So the neat thing is, even though if you're taking an online class, you do these same things, it's delivered to you differently. So yeah, we're not looking at each other, but you're still participating in this webinar. And I know you're asking a question and I'm able to answer it. Online classes can be somewhat like that. You participate in a discussion. Maybe your instructor asks you a question and you then post at 3 in the morning, or someone posts at 10 o'clock at night, and then you respond to it. So you're really doing many of the same things. It's just that the delivery method is a bit different. So I do have a couple questions, so I'm going to take on and see what we have some questions on, and then we're going to move to the next slide. All right, so good questions. So let's start with the online student. Okay, let me see, sorry. Hello, when can we expect our bill? Okay, the bills will not be going out until we believe this week. And is a payment plan easy to set up? I honestly claim incredible ignorance on this, but we have a fantastic student financial services manager, Ann Chapdelaine, who I'm going to share this information with and ask her to get in contact with you, Tricia, okay? And to clarify, as an online student, all I have to do to be considered as attending my first class is to turn in my pre-assignment for each class. Well, yeah, Sue Ellen, that is true. We want you to be participating. So there is going to be a pre-assignment where it's actually an assignment, and it might be a question of, please give us a 2-page paper on something. That is going to be attending for the purposes of that attendance policy. But there will also be probably an icebreaker that's going to go on. And so that's something you want to participate in because it lets your classmates get to know you. But for the purpose of attending, yes, doing your pre-class assignment.
For that first class.
For that first class. Yeah. Yes, correct.
And in the syllabi, there'll be more details about it.
Yeah, it'll be certainly much richer. So how do I find out who my advisor is? Diane, that is actually going to be on your schedule, and I will actually make a point whenever it's my turn to take over and show you on the portal how you get to that. And Jennifer, great question. Is online real time? No, that's what I was saying earlier. It's actually fantastic. It is asynchronous. It is your time, my time, Eastern Standard Time, anytime. It is whenever you're available to go on. I agree, there are deadlines. There are assignments that are due on Thursdays and Saturdays. But if you go on at 3 o'clock in the morning to do it, or if I go at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to do it, as long as you're fulfilling what's in the syllabus as a class requirement, it doesn't matter when you're doing it. Now, can I say that the instructor may not ask you to participate in maybe one webinar like what we're doing? No, I can't. They might, especially maybe in a communications course or something of that nature. But for the most part, they are all asynchronous, and they're something you can accomplish on a schedule that fits for you.
And typically the assignments, just always know that on a Thursday and on a Saturday, something will be due. And Diane can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's all Eastern Standard Time. So as long as it's 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, then you're fine.
Yeah, that is actually true. So the instructor, and it does show in your Canvas, if you're taking an online course or even if it's just posted in Canvas, it will show you when it is due. And it does say 11:59. I think it says EST. So
that's a really good question.
Jenna, you asked a great question, totally. Are we going to have to do group work for our online classes? Where would we have to meet up in groups? Well, that's a kind of interesting thing. I am in our MBA program here at Bay Path, and yes, we do group work. Do all classes, though? No, they don't. But what is also really neat is you can create a group space within Canvas so you can meet in there. You actually can create a place where you post your own discussions, and you basically create your own threads and work within the teamwork. I'm going to show you, hopefully, Google Google Drive, which has this thing called Google Docs and Word. It's like a Word-type version. You can actually all be interacting within that same document at one point in time rather than 4 of you doing one Word document. So there's plenty of ways that allows a lot of interactions. I know earlier in this term, or actually summer session here, that I did a web conference, which is something that certainly can be done, although I caused more problems with the web conference than what I solved. But for those who came, I appreciate it. It was really cool. It was a informal, kind of what we're doing right now, but just a little bit more informal, just me talking to you. So I'm going to let Shirley go over. I'm sorry. I could talk for 3 hours, so I'm going to let Shirley go again.
But she has a lot of really good information now, you guys. All right, but we're almost done with this part. So something that's taken very seriously is here is academic integrity. It can be tempting, and I'm sure you all have heard about the term plagiarism, and it can be easy to do and not realize you're doing it. But there's a lot of tools here, so try not to be too worried about that you'll learn about. So, don't worry about that, but it is taken very seriously here. So you just want to be true to yourself and make good decisions. In this, there's a link right here again, embedded into the slideshow that will be sent to you. So it's just, this is the policy, and it'll show you what exactly it entails.
Also, in the EXT 097 course, I include a section on how to properly cite things using, it's called the Purdue OWL. It's a really neat little resource. Helps you how to cite a paper, whether you're getting stuff from a book, from an electronic resource, from the internet, from a million different sources. Because one thing I do want to point out, and Shirley can certainly second me on this, one thing you're going to find with your written assignments, there is a feature called Turn It In. And it is something where you have to submit that the work that you're turning in is your own. And what happens is that paper, let's say it's a 3-page paper on Christopher Columbus, it's going to go to a technology service that we have that verifies whether it is coming from another source. So it's called an originality checker. So it's something that goes out there and says, oh my goodness, this paper, 87% of it came from Wikipedia. That's not going to work. We can't do that. So just to be sure, there is this policy in place that uses Turn It In for all of your written assignments. It's not meant to harm you. It's just meant to teach you to be a great writer, because you're going to need that in your careers. And this is just another way of reinforcing how you can use technology, but yet properly give credit to those who created it. We want you to write work that's your own because we want to hear what you have to say. But just something to think of, and I'll bring it up a little bit when I show you in the EXT 097 course.
And just something to add on about that too is, again, when I talk about the resources and tutoring, the librarians, I'll be mailing you guys a packet of information that goes over APA and MLA. Again, even just your local library, the librarians can be very, very helpful and informative. There's also a course here that many of you are probably enrolled in. It's a research and writing class, but whether it's that class, tutoring, don't fear this information. There's a lot of resources here, and it may take some time to get used to it, but you can do it, and there's plenty of resources and help here for you. Okay, so names to the faces. These are your staff and advisors here. So Dr. Vanna Nespor, she's our Chief Learning Officer here for both our American Women's College, which is TALK, and our One Day a Week College. This is how you can contact her, and she is always welcoming people to contact her. Marisol Cruz, she's our director of our Longmeadow campus, and this is how to contact her. Kate Hibbert, she's our assistant director of advising, registration, and support. If you are a legal studies or criminal justice student, she's probably your advisor on the Longmeadow campus. Okay, so Chelsea Klein, right now she's our acting director of student and career services, and she's our director of our WELL program. So the WELL 220, 330 classes that you may be enrolled in, that she's the director of that. Maura Devlin, she's our director of liberal studies, writing, and assessment, and that's you can get a hold of her. Meredith Coates, she's our program director for our education program. Shakina Williams, she's our senior director of the business programs. Debbie Hazapitro, she's our director of online business and also the health services, so if any of you are enrolled in that program. Tamara Blake, she's our director of the psychology programs. Kelly Payne. She's our Assistant Director of Liberal Studies. And then also Prior Learning Assessment, or PLA, which you'll learn more about, but she's also oversees that. And then myself, Shirley Montavani, educator coach, and Chapdelaine. So she's our Manager of Student and Financial Services. So we provided you with that student financial services number, but she's also, you've probably spoken to her at one point, but she can also answer any questions that you have. Our Burlington staff, so this is Mary Wislotsky, she's our Director of Admissions. Amy Carmack, she's our Assistant Director of Advising, Support, and Registration. Tracy Bingo, she's our librarian there. And Michelle Montel, she's our Administrative Assistant there. Sturbridge, we have Tracy Romanak, she's the Manager of Operations. She might even be some of your advisor. And Andy Rosario, he's our Administrative Assistant there. And Jill Motaika, our Director of Admissions.
Oh, hey, wow, what's that? Remember me? Sorry, we have to be a little facetious. I'm not trying to shove this down your throat, but it is just such an important thing. This is about our class attendance, our attendance policy. Just another little reminder, participation in that first class is essential. That's both if you're on ground and if you're online. So sorry to bring it up again, but it is so important. We want you here, so just need to show it to you again. So now, it's your turn. Any questions from you? Now I see a couple over here, so I'm going to bounce over to those. And what do we have? All right, let's see where we're at. Are we going to have to do group work? Did that. Is there a way to find out if there are other students or alumni in our area for local support?
So that's a great question, and actually many of them just graduated, but we have a mentor program, and I'm not sure specifically about our EMC and CMC campuses, but I know that we're currently recruiting for a new group for the Long Meadow campus, and many times they're there on the first day of classes. So in addition to your advisor and the faculty and staff, these are these mentors. I would also either get in touch with your admissions counselor or your advisor, because that could be possibly something you can do. And even within your classes, forming a support network, and even though it seems kind of strange online, you have ways to access each other and you can email each other. So there's ways to do that as well. But yes, we're trying to build back up our mentors. They just graduated, so we got to find new ones. But great question.
Definitely, great question. Elaine, so you asked, how do online students in the same class get to know each other initially? I'm an online student, so I know this definitely. Number one, I ask you guys all to participate in EXT 097. That's the ITEL course, Introduction to Technology Enhanced Learning. And in there, I ask you to put a picture up. Now, I don't ask it to be a picture of you. If you want a picture of your dog, your kid, a flower, something like that. But you know what? It gets me to know who you are a little bit. So that's one way. Another thing they do is they participate in what's called an icebreaker. Sometimes it's silly things like, name 3 songs and tell me why you like them or something like that. But it's something that just kind of breaks the ice and lets you realize that there's other people in the same class, and you really get to know each other through your discussions too. You find that people say things that you agree with and you want to agree with them and resonate in that same vein, but you also might find someone who you may academically disagree with. And that's okay too, and it's a really fun thing to get those discussions and conversations going. So, Elaine, you also asked like a bibliography. I think bibliography is an old word. I know. I'm sorry. Don't take it personal. I thought it was called a bibliography for years too. Actually, with the APA formatting, you use this term called references. So it's very similar. And I think MLA might be works cited, I believe is the way they term it in there. So it is a little different, but in essence, it's the same thing. So, actually, gosh, you guys are typing so fast, I got to make the screen bigger so I can see it all.
I know. Great question.
I hit the wrong button. All right, give me 1 second. I accidentally closed your questions. All right, give me a second. You're asking fantastic questions, so that's why I need to get in there and make it bigger so I can see.
No question is too small. That's what we're here for.
Definitely. This is your turn. This is your turn to ask them. So, all right. So that was, the alumni question was really fantastic. I mean, BAPAP has a strong community sense, and there is definitely, one of the things she mentioned was your classmates. You'll also see in your Canvas classrooms the faces of your classmates, and that way you can actually get a hold of them too. So you can send them little Canvas messages, which is really neat. So, all right, where are we at? Sorry. Wait, boy, you guys are typing fast. I got to find the top.
Yeah, I know it's down here.
Who's my advisor real time? Okay, sorry. Alumni. Online, get to know each other, bibliography. Okay, what's a chief learning officer like? What sort of questions would we ask Dr. Ness for? Well, she's in charge of the academic side of education within the American Women's College, which is the online college, and also the one-day-a-week college. So what would you ask her? Well, I'm going to let Shirley take this one.
Well, I mean, she oversees all of us, the advisors, the program directors, she's kind of our fearless leader. She does try to attend some of the Saturday classes, so you might even meet her, especially maybe even that first day. But I don't know if there's anything really that's wrong or right to ask her. It's certainly, I would go through your advisor first. Usually if it's a certain situation, we might run it by her, but she's got that kind of open door policy. So I don't think that you would need to speak with her initially, but if there's anything, that we would need to ask her, we certainly can. But you would probably speak to your advisor first, or your instructor, and then we can go from there. Yeah. And you can type, Alicia, that's okay.
Alicia, can I recommend Dragon Naturally Speaking?
Yeah.
So anyway, so Portal versus Canvas. Okay, yes, Canvas is the classroom. Canvas is the method that we deliver online classes and even on-ground aspects of your classes. The portal is kind of a way of connecting services, I guess I would say. So you're going to have a little portal to go into the registrar's area. You're going to have a portal to come into scheduling. You're going to come into a portal where there's ability for you to register for things. So it's kind of like a passageway to get certain things done. So I hope that helps in that way. I'll show it to you in just a couple seconds.
And just so you know, too, the portal is what your advisor uses, too. And so the stuff that she's going to access, your advisor just will be accessing it from a different section of the portal, but we're seeing the same things you are.
Yeah, like your portal has your schedule. It would have your
degree audit,
which is definitely something that Shirley and I would recommend you take a look at. I'll show you how to get to it. And that way you can see, just to make sure transfer credits that you expect to come in have come in correctly. So things like that. Standard amount of hours you can expect to dedicate weekly to each class. Well, if you're on ground, you're going to be in the classroom for 5 hours.
Yeah, each class, like in the morning, it's about 5 hours.
Other than that, just think about it in the perspective, I don't know how quick you read. You're going to have a reading assignment. You're going to have a discussion to participate. Things that they often say are 12 to 15 hours. I'm not sure I fully endorse that because I don't want to scare anyone away. I think that you're always going to have work that needs to be done, but believe it or not, we can break that time up very easily. Yeah. I have started exercising, and I will actually ride my recumbent bike for 45 minutes, and I can read a chapter. So sometimes you get to be a master of multitasking, or maybe you're cooking dinner and you have your book propped up alongside of you. So yeah, you have a lot of work to do, and you have time that you got to spend to do it. But you have to participate in discussions. You have to be within the classroom potentially. You have to write an assignment. You have to read. But I can't really tell you an exact number of hours. I think it's really dependent on the person.
And try not to overwhelm yourself. You're going to be balancing. It's a lot to do, but it's very doable. And again, it kind of goes to don't put too much pressure on yourself. Do what you can. If you have questions, reach out. And then even online or in the class, talk to each other and ask, say, hey, most of you are in the same situations with families and jobs and, how to figure out balancing it. And it's not going to be an overnight thing where you say, okay, this is in each session, it will probably work differently for you. But again, try not to put too much pressure on yourself and do what you can and ask for help. So Kathleen asks, why is it called the American Women's College, and does it mean it's a separate entity? Well, it's separate from Bay Path University in the sense of the traditional program and the graduate program. Bay Path has had 15 years of the one-day-a-week college that was on Saturdays. Now, in the past couple of years, recognizing the fact that
Just because you want to go to college, you may be living somewhere else. We want to be able to approach it in a way that we can attract folks in California, to Washington State, to someone right here in Western Massachusetts. So we spun off from the main college, but we are certainly employees of Bay Path University. We know you are all students of Bay Path University. So it's just kind of a way of saying these are our undergraduate women who are coming to us either in the online program or the one-day-a-week program.
Yeah, and it's, American Women's College of Bay Path University, or one-day-a-week college of Bay Path University. So it's kind of that Bay Path University is the umbrella. And then, we have the graduate, the traditional talk, and one day, and all sorts of exciting things.
Yep. So where on Bay Path can we find out what books we're going to need for class? Well, number one, you're going to find them in your syllabus, but as we know, you're not going to gain access to that for another few days. So I'm going to show you on the portal, well, it's actually on the Bay Path Bookstore website, how you can find exactly what books you're going to need. So I mentioned an EXT course that we can participate in. Yeah, it's called ITEL. So Jennifer asked the question. It's called Introduction to Technology Enhanced Learning. You have it, or you should have it, within Canvas, and it shows up in your courses and enrollments, and it's something that, like I say, it's really designed for both online and on-ground folks. Anyone who's coming, because your classes are going to have both your syllabus listed, you're going to see your grades in there, you're going to potentially submit assignments in there, because with using Turnitin, you have to submit your assignments electronically. So I definitely want you to participate, understand it, and ask any questions that you may have of me now, because we still have some time. So you're not late. Anyone who's just getting access to this, please understand you're not behind. Some people are ahead, but you're not behind. All right, so last question, last minute changes on assignments, is that standard protocol? I would say not. You can generally use your syllabus as a contract between you and your instructor. Can I say that something doesn't happen and doesn't change? No, of course not. But that's why I want you to be sure to understand how to use Canvas, because they may put an announcement within that location. So should you check things? Yeah, let me keep reading your message. Should we check back in often? Well, I'm going to say you need to be comfortable checking in often in general. If you're taking classes on ground, probably a little less so. But if you're online, you should probably plan on being on it, at least just to check things that are going on pretty much daily.
Mm-hmm. And one thing too, not necessarily specific to Canvas, but your Bay Path email, you're definitely going to want to be checking that a couple times a week, if not daily. And there's actually something, there's a way you can have it get to your phone. So obviously you'll want to log on your computer, but you definitely don't want to be missing any important information. I know as an advisor, I use email a lot. I do call, but whether it could be an instructor or somebody from financial aid, a program director. So you definitely want to be checking that. And I don't know if Canvas can come to your phone or your iPad.
Yeah, actually there's a section in that orientation course to show you how to go ahead and do that, because you can set it up so that it is convenient for you. So you can be notified when, say, your instructor might put up an announcement, or if a graded assignment or if an assignment you've turned in has been graded. So that's kind of something you want to know. Can anyone start an icebreaker for discussions? Well, no, usually your instructor does start that. So it's a thread where, like I say, it may be name your top 3 songs from the 80s. Sorry, I'm a child of the 80s. And then you have to name your songs and maybe even say why. It's just to kind of get you to know your classmates. So Elaine apparently wanted to throw out there that she's Irish. Maybe that's how we're going to start our icebreaker. I'm Irish and German. How does that work? All right. So notifications. I'm going to show you that.
Yeah.
Let's see. So bibliography, are there still footnotes? Kathleen, I don't think so. I think that is with an old system. Mm-hmm. There were things called Chicago and MLA, APA. There is even something else which I can't remember. I'm not an English master. And I know that has not been used. That's why I'm definitely going to make a point of showing you guys on there the Purdue OWL, because most of your classes here will let you know what they want you to use, but if it's APA formatting, it's called references, and you don't do footnotes, you don't do endnotes, you do in-text citations, and you also do you list who the author is of the work at the end. So I definitely want to show you that. Do all classes have an on-ground component? No, Ferna, no. You might be an online student. But all on-ground courses should have some Canvas aspect. So they should have an online aspect. I'm not sure if that maybe was what you meant to ask. But no, if you're an online student, certainly you could be attending from California, and that would be a long trip. So no, but certainly that's what the neat thing about technology is of today. So Kathleen says, I cannot access the portal. It will not let you set a password. Yes, please call me tomorrow. I may not be able to help you tonight, so we'll have to see that. Best platform for Canvas if you're using a Mac. You could certainly use Safari. I would definitely say the recommended browser is always Google Chrome. It's just the most friendly for viewing things and things of that nature, so that would be the recommendation. Nancy, if I need to use the library for research, do I need a student ID?
If you're going to be checking stuff out, things of that nature, you're going to need a student ID, but it won't be somebody at the door checking for IDs. And depending on where you live, any local, college library, it's just when you check books out or documents out, you'll need a student ID.
Lillian, Ann and Lena, I believe, asked, what is your degree going to say? Well, nothing like jumping right to the end, huh? Could we get through orientation, lady? You got me laughing. No, your degree will say Bay Path University. No doubt.
Yep.
No doubt. All right, so someone else has been trying to log onto the portal and not been successful. I am going to mention that there is something called a 77 number by us. It starts with 77 and it's your student ID. Or student ID number, student ID number. That should have come to you from IT on campus, and if you don't have that, I will want to talk to you because I might ask you to email me separately, although I can keep track of these questions, but I want to make sure you're able to get onto the portal. Sometimes things happen, and you'll see like a little circle that just never ends. If that happens, there's sometimes a little problem back in the coding within the computer. It's not necessarily your problem, but I just want to definitely make sure that, that we can get you on. Let's see, I entered several of my classes into the bookstore and one said canceled. Wow, that is something I've not seen before, Andrea. Good question. So Andrea asks, I entered several of my classes into the bookstore and what said canceled. Would that be true? Or would the info just not be available to the 29th? Andrea, if you could type in the class for me and let me take a look at it, I might need to check with the instructor. And I could probably get that ahead of time rather than making you wait till the 29th.
And you can also do that, Andrea, on your, or anybody. Once you access your schedule, by now most of the instructors have been assigned. And just so you know, you have to do it through BayPath email. But most people, if you start typing in their name, it's always their first initial last name at baypath.edu, just like how yours will be. And you can contact them. In rare situations, if maybe one person is registered for a class, it will get canceled, but you'll get notified by either your advisor or the registrar, and we would have a solution by that time anyway. So try not to panic about that. It's not that the bookstore is not accurate. I just would want to wait and actually speak to the instructor first. So that's why I don't know. We want to double check that for you.
Yeah, there's a couple possibilities. Perhaps the publisher didn't have the book available that the instructor wanted, so they pulled the book back, and maybe they're going to be reassigning one. So I'm just not 100% sure right this second. Christabel, you've tried to log on to the EXT097 course but haven't had luck. Well, I'm going to show you. So hopefully, if you have access to the portal and if you have access to Canvas, you should be able to log in. So we're going to make sure that everyone can get in, at least by seeing how to do it shortly. Amaryllis, do you have to pay the college bill before the classes start? This is more of a question for Student Financial Services. I know the bills will be coming out this week. I believe there is some leeway on when the bills are due. I believe they're due on September 15th. But so theoretically your classes do start before there. But you would definitely want to talk to Ann Chapdelaine. She's in Student Financial Services to find out the exact details on that.
But remember to always contact them. You're going to get the bill. There'll be information on there. There'll be due dates, just like with any bill that we always get. But don't think that there's not options, so that's what Student Financial Services and Ann Chapdelaine are here for, and even your advisor, to make sure you're pointed in the right direction. So you'll have that information there.
You ladies are asking so many fantastic questions. I have to kind of zoom through a little bit so I can show you how to do some of this stuff. So just very quickly, I'm going to resend the recording to you all by email probably tomorrow afternoon. Jennifer, I did answer your question. Yeah, you can go ahead and jump onto that EXT 097 course now. Kathleen, I ordered a couple books that were listed. Are there more books that will be listed? You should know from looking at the bookstore. Let's see. Okay, thanks, Andrea, for giving us that course. Well, someone is asking, how do you access Canvas portal with your student ID along with the password? Okay, I think it's my turn now. I'm going to jump off the questions for a few moments and just go ahead and jump into the portal at this point in time. So the portal. The way you access is by going to my.baypath.edu. Now, I have a password. I have a username and a password. So I'm going to log in because it does kick you out after a certain period of time. So let me log in. But for you, you say, well, I got this notice from IT. What am I supposed to do? Well, you're supposed to come here to the home section and go to Login Help, and then you activate your account. So remember I talked about 77 number, student ID. That's where you're going to enter that. Then you have to enter two of these three validation fields, either the last four digits of your social security number or your home street address number or P.O. Box number. Now, bear in mind these are numbers, so if you live at 123 Main Street, just enter 123. Or your date of birth, year, month, day. So two of these three things. And then you click Verify Your Information. You'll see a little circle here, and then it'll tell you what your username is. So for me, I'm Diane Reinhardt, so it'll be D. Reinhardt. And then I have to put in a password. Now the password you enter has to be specific to have 8 characters at least, has to have at least one number and I believe one capital letter or a different character. And once you've entered that, it'll say, okay, your password's been changed. Hopefully. If it hasn't, that's what I need to know, because I might have to have IT reset your account. If it does, then it'll say just click here to log back into the portal. So then you log in and you put your username and then your password that you just created. Now your username is just D. Reinhardt, or your first letter of your name and your last name. Sometimes if there's more than one person, it might be, a couple letters from your first name and then your last name. And then you put in the password, like I said. Your email address is that username at baypath.edu. So I said, we're going to come to the welcome screen. That's where you first start off with. And almost everything you need to do is right here initially. Your Baypath email, Canvas Learning Management System. Once you're in your classes, they're going to ask you to participate in a course evaluation survey once it's at the end. How to get to the Hatch library, how to enter a help desk ticket, and those are all things that you find right on that main page. The bookstore, this is located here also. I think this link might not work though. Yeah, it doesn't work. You can actually just type Baypath Bookstore in a Google search area. This is the Smart Thinking Tutoring, which is really neat. It lets you actually go and get tutoring on things. Now we recommend that you would use it for everything except English. So you would basically log in using your username and password, the same thing that you use for the portal. Excuse me. And this is tutoring for on campus. If you actually live close enough to the Longmeadow campus, you can actually enter information and find a time where you could go to K-Talk, it's a location on campus, and meet with a tutor right there. So let me bring you back to the portal. So now I'm at the main screen. Like I said, there's a few things that you would do that are really important. Primarily, you start on the welcomes page, because that's everything you need to do to get started. Another thing you'll do is go to this E2 campus registration. This is a way of notifying you in the event of, say, an emergency or something of that nature. So you would put in where you go to school, CMC, Longmeadow, online. And we ask you to do this even if you're online, because let's say our internet goes down. We don't want you to think that you're not able to access your classroom or the portal or Canvas, whatever, if it's something that's our problem. We want to be able to notify you and let you know. Or if you're attending on ground at any of these locations, if there's a snow day, if there's any traffic concerns that would keep you from getting to class. So it's really important to sign up for that too. So it's pretty simple. Put in a username, first name, last name, password. It's all things you create. Pick where you are. You can actually put your phone number in and it'll send a text message to you. Text messaging rates could apply, I suppose. So just be careful about that. So there we are. We're back on the welcome screen. Another thing you would want to look at is in your Students tab. Now, I'm actually in as myself, and I am a student here, but this is where you would see your schedule, right here. So again, how do we get there? We click on Students and we see it right here. Another thing you're going to go to is Advising frequently. Now, this shows me in my degree audit, which I'm not going to click into, but this is where you would find it too. So how do we get there? We were in Students, then we went to Advising, and then we go over here and we see the degree audit, and we click on this thing that says View All Details, and that's what actually opens up our degree audit. Like I said, definitely recommend you taking a look at that in reference to your transfer credits that you may be bringing in. Another thing that I want to show you, without a doubt, is within academics. We have tons of resources within here, such as a guidebook. We have a catalog. You always want to look at things that say talk or one day. Talk meaning the American Women's College, or one day being our one day a week college. So again, talk guidebook, talk one day, and that basically will show you the catalog that's coming up. You will also see, like I say, the guidebook, which is actually kind of a neat little, gives you some tips and hints in there. You also will find things on the registrar's office within here. Another important thing, in the event of you having to drop classes, many of the forms that you will need are located in this area. The other thing you will find is the American Women's College. Excuse me, this is actually where the add drop forms are. So again, we want you to stay, but just important to know if something happened and you needed to step away, number one, first step is contacting your advisor, but secondly, they may ask you to fill out the add drop form or course withdrawal on the portal, and this is how you locate it. So again, you're not going to break anything. Just jump in here, click around, learn a little bit about it. We're coming up on 7 o'clock already, and I'm so sorry. I do want to show you a couple things within the Canvas classroom, so let's quickly jump into there. So I go back to the welcome screen and I go to Canvas. I'm actually going to take away your view of my screen for just 1 second. Sorry. All right, so how I got here was I clicked from the portal to Canvas. Sometimes you have to log in once, but whenever you're asked to log in, either to the BayPath Gmail account, your Gmail link that's on that welcome screen, or to Canvas, it's the same username and password that you're using to log onto the portal initially. So here, this is EXT 097, the Introduction to Technology Enhanced Learning. I would love to see every single one of you participating in this class or the EXT 097 Z4 class. We have so many of you wonderful women joining us that we actually split the class into two. So you may not see people that you're seeing here at the orientation in that one, but you're in either Z1 or Z4. There are things that we ask you to do, but the way you start is by starting at this home screen. Watch the video, understand a little bit about it, and then you just scroll down and you get the content that's in here. Then we go to the Let's Get Started. And this brings you to the modules. The modules are basically classrooms. It's almost like if you can see this module, which is this gray area here, that would be essentially to say like what a week is in your classroom. In an online environment, that's how they have to deliver things to you. So the way we do it is by putting content into each of these things. And it might be text, it might be a video, it might be, there's many things. So what we put in here is going to differ in all your courses, but this is essentially what you do. You start at the top and you work through it. You do that by clicking on the next button. And then you simply just keep going through. Like I said, each one is a little different in what it's showing you, and they're all meant to basically guide you on how to proceed. We have a section here where if you have questions and you prefer to read, you can certainly do that. So you can actually read the text that is basically provided to you in a video format in other ways. We want to make sure you understand what technology requirements are for attending college, either if you're online or on ground. One thing I just want to emphasize, you click on here to get these requirements, but please make sure you're using an antivirus program no matter what computer system you're using. It's just really important. And even if you have a Mac, and I know they're not supposed to get viruses, they can. So just try to get yourself an antivirus program that's going to protect you as you're out searching the internet. So again, I'm really just moving forward and passing through the content information that's been put into this course. And like I said, it's meant to, oh look, the attendance policy. Who would have thunk it? So anyway, just want to make sure you understand, please participate now. Go in there now, ask questions, because I think it'll start to become a little more intuitive once you jump in there and see things. I'm going to ask you to participate in a discussion. I ask you to submit an assignment just to see if you can upload an assignment. I also ask you to put a photo up, like I said. And finally, I ask you to watch a video of Dr. Leary and then share your story, because I think it's a really important thing to bring you all back to what made you come here. What made you make the decision to join Bay Path University and be one of our students? Because I think it's something that there will be challenges, but there are going to be phenomenal moments. And whether you're attending online or whether you're attending on ground, one thing you'll find that coming for a women's college is the concept of a sisterhood. And you're going to realize how closely tied you are to your classmates. And I know I've been here for about a year and I've never seen it, and I've worked in higher ed before, so it's certainly something I've never seen before. So take it all in, embrace it, and at this point, I apologize for the speed of this, but I'm actually going to jump in and answer a few more questions, and we're going to see what we can do. So student ID, Canvas, and portal. Okay. All right. So Sue asked a question about, you don't need a student ID for the bookstore. For the library, yes, you do. If you're attending on ground, there are times where that will be made available to you. It won't start until the classes actually start back up. But there is a schedule for that.
Yeah, and just depending on like where you're located, you can, whether it's Longmeadow or one of the other campuses, I'm going to be mailing information if you're based out of Longmeadow or if you've been assigned to, us out of this campus, so you'll have those dates. If you're strictly online or you're not even really sure if you're going to be coming to campus, but you kind of want to get an ID, because of course there's always those discounts that you can get, which I would definitely recommend. Just get in touch with your advisor. There's a way to do it, or just email me, and because I know the protocol for it. You basically just email your advisor a picture, and then we email it to the person who does the IDs, and then mail it back to you. So there's a way. Just get in touch with us.
Okay, Chelsea, you asked a question about the graduate psychology. That is actually, and I apologize for that grouping. You must be in the psychology program. So unfortunately, it does show up as graduate psychology, but it's just a grouping, and I think it's actually so that the program directors can really just communicate to all the people in that program. So even though it says graduate psychology, it doesn't mean graduate level. So sorry for that misnomer in there, but it actually does not mean that. Sue Ellen asked a question of why do I not recommend Smart Thinking for English? So if you could answer that. One of the reasons is we have a fantastic tutor on campus, David Malouf, and secondly is he's actually very willing to work with people by email.
Right, yeah. I think I had mentioned it before, but just I can't reiterate this enough. I mean, they have their hours, but, flexibility is a huge thing here, and if we just communicate with each other, there's a solution. So, yeah, it's probably the better way to do it. Or again, even the librarians in the library has a lot of resources too, but definitely communicate with David Maloof. He's great.
All right, so question from Melissa saying the instructors are still in the process of creating the courses, but one of my courses on my September schedule hasn't shown up in Canvas yet. You can certainly let me know this, Melissa, but what it probably means is that your instructor hasn't been assigned to you. But I'm going to show you something. Now remember, my screen looks a little different than yours does. When you first come into Canvas, if you come up to courses, this will show you the courses that you're currently enrolled in, okay? But you can also do this thing where you click on View All Courses. Don't be afraid when you see my screen in a second. But it'll show you, now once again, these are the current courses. And then you keep scrolling down and you'll see past enrollments. So these are courses I've already taken. And then I'll see future enrollments. This is where you should see that September class. If you don't see it, then yes, please let me know, Melissa. Because, like I say, if it's been assigned to an instructor but not made public, which is called publishing it, you should see it in this future enrollments. If you do not, please let me know. Like I said, these are your current ones, so I am expecting the only one you may have this week would be the EXT097 course, the ITEL course. But as of next week, you should start seeing them populate in this area.
Yeah, it's next Friday is the 29th.
Okay.
Definitely contact your advisor or Diane if you don't see it, but there's usually a simple reason. So but definitely let us know. That's definitely what we're here for. So typically they should all be up there, but if something's up, just contact us and we'll figure it out.
Yep. So someone, Alicia, had asked, what about the assignments? Well, I tried to make it actually kind of easy for you guys, where I wrote, anytime where there was something that you actually had to do, I wrote submission required. So there's a survey, so it's submission required. And then you go through it a little bit, and there's a discussion and submissions required. And then there's a practice assignment where I ask you to submit an assignment to me, submission required. Your instructors aren't necessarily going to be doing that, but one other way, and they may show it this way, but usually the easiest way is by getting used to these symbols. This symbol here means a web page, a wiki page. This means a link, so an external URL. This means a quiz, which could mean a survey. It doesn't have to be graded to be a quiz. This means a discussion, so a discussion area. Then we go down a little bit more, and then you see this A+, because that's what you guys are all going to get, an assignment. So that's how you can tell the difference. One other place, not all your instructors will show these, but if you go into assignments, you might see it. Like I said, they don't always show things, but this shows your discussions and your assignments. So in my class I do, but not all the instructors do. So, all right, let's see. Just to clarify, yes, please start the EXT097 course. I'm sure I'm going to get bombarded from you ladies, but that's what I'm here for. I want to be able to answer these questions. One of my famous lines is, so that you're ready on day one. Because this is the time. Now is the question and answer period. I'm here. I'm available. Please ask me questions. Let me get you started so that when you start in your classes, you're learning about psychology or criminal justice, not how to submit an assignment. Let me teach you these things now so that you're ready. All right, so I'm scheduled to start EXT097Z1 on September 11th. Well, actually, no, you're assigned to schedule and start classes on September 11th. That is a little bit of a misnomer in that scheduling. That's when the classes start, but you actually have access to it right this second. So please jump in, get started. Your classes should be available to you starting on the 29th. So even though they say on the September 11th on your schedule even, you're actually going to start getting access to them next week. So Melissa said, I do see my October enrollments, but not this particular one. Melissa, could you email me the title of that class so I can, oh, you did. Okay, thank you. Never mind, I see it. Who my advisor is. And someone got my statement. Okay, I'm going to bring us back to the portal very quickly. So on the portal, we would go to students. We go to advising. And I'm going to shrink my screen here because it's kind of in the way. And right here, it says, so once again, I'm a student in the MBA program, so it shows a little differently for me, but for you, it would show here also, faculty advisor. intended major. If any of these things look out of the ordinary to you, if it says you're in the psychology program and you think you're in criminal justice, please let us know. Contact your advisor, and your advisor is listed right there. So it's really neat. Like Shirley was mentioning, names. If you want to email someone, you would just come to Google Mail, so your Bay Path email, that's your Gmail account. And once you start typing the name, so I saw that my advisor's name is Mohammed Sattar, I would just start typing Mohammed or M. Sattar, and it would come up with him. So real easy system to use, has all the people who are faculty members, advisors, students in Gmail. So it helps you a lot to be able to contact people. All right, so let's see if we got any more questions. Like I said, this is being recorded. The great thing is that there's a way that we can actually go ahead and participate and show you what you're seeing, and yet also you'll be able to look at this again tomorrow or down the road if you have questions. Like I said, I'm going to send it to you after it's been completed. I'm just kind of...
And this is a lot of information, so don't feel like, you have to know everything, and get quizzed and tested on it. Again, Diane, myself, your advisor, admissions counselors, that's what we're all here for at any time. So email is probably the best way to reach us, but certainly call us. Our contact information will be there, and any question, we're excited to have you. It's such a great experience. You all are in a unique situation, so we're really excited for you, and we're here to help in any way that we can. So, be proactive and communicate with us, your instructors, and we can always find a solution. And this will be, this will be sent to you as well. It'll be emailed, so you'll be able to review it.
Yep. So I'm going to be recording it. Okay. So let me just see. All right. Where am I at? See if where we're at with the questions. I keep hitting the wrong button.
Yeah, I think the last question was, we are sending it to you so you can review it, via email. So it'll be here, and the links will, will be in there to read the attendance and all that stuff. But
okay,
I think that was it for questions.
It may actually be.
How's everybody feeling? Are they still excited or overloaded with information?
Hey, did you hear about the attendance policy? All right. I am someone who believes very passionately in education, but I also believe in having a heck of a good time, and I recommend the same for all of you. It's going to be a challenge, yes. It's going to be fun, yes. It's going to be everything. So definitely, I recommend jumping in. Oh, I got someone asking about ITEL. ITEL is that EXT 097 course. It's in Canvas. So you go to Canvas, courses, and it should show up in there. See, Introduction to Technology Enhanced Learning. That's what that is.
And check your email, because Diane at this point probably had sent you emails, so it'll kind of walk you through step by step how to access all that.
Yeah, and if you didn't get the email, I know everyone's in little bits of different stages of joining. So if you didn't get those emails from me, I apologize, and I can certainly resend them. It's a video of me showing you how to walk through things, and I think it'll help a lot. So I really want to thank you. The great thing is, like I say, we're going to send this email to you tomorrow showing you both this presentation, answering questions that you've all asked, and also giving you the slideshow as something. Whenever we say that there are links, I just want to let you know whenever you're watching a slideshow and you want to click on the links, you need to play it as a slideshow, and then you can click on the link and it'll bring you right to that section. So I hope this has been helpful. I want to really, really thank you guys all for your participation, questions, keeping us on our toes for all this time, and just really your attentiveness throughout the whole thing. So I'm going to sign off. Shirley, if you want to just have any last words for everyone?
Just again that we're excited to have you. Reach out to us if you have any questions. This is going to be a great experience, so I hope you're all excited about it. And like I said, reach out to us. You'll have all our contact information on here, and if like I said, if we can't answer it, we'll find the answer for you. Okay. So have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon.